Basically, we are going to learn about outposts today. And the point is that how many of you already are aware of the term outpost? Yes, can you tell the class what do you think what outpost is?
Outposts are square where bigger piece is protected by a pawn. For example, a knight or a bishop protected by a pawn.
In the opponent's camp, right?
Yeah.
So outpost basically means out plus post. A post which is outside your camp. Okay. So a post which is present either on the 5th rank or on the 6th rank, that is outpost. Next thing you have to understand is best outpost squares are nothing but best.
Sir, should we write this?
No need. Outpost squares are nothing but something that you guys are already aware of, holes.
Hi, sir.
Hello, May. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
That's good to know that you're fine. Hello, Krishiv. Krishiv has also joined. Good. So best outpost squares are the squares which we already know as holes, right? Holes are present mainly on the 5th and 6th rank. And who likes to sit on holes?
Knights. Knights.
Yes. So basically, holes are squares on the 5th and 6th rank. Minor pieces like to sit on holes the most, especially the knight, and if not the knight, the bishop. Sometimes rook also like to sit on holes. Okay, so sometimes rooks also like to control holes. So again, we will see this particular position. Now I want you guys to pay attention. Look at the 5th and 6th rank. So here the idea is look at the 5th and 6th rank and see what are holes that you can find. So B6 is a hole, correct?
Sir.
D6 is a hole, F6 is a hole, H6 is a hole, C5 is a hole, A5 is a hole, right?
Sir, but pawns can push.
Where?
Sir, I really don't know what a hole is.
Okay, so that's kind of again a very important question. Holes are the squares where opponent pawn cannot control. So this is a very important fundamental. Opponent's pawn cannot control that square. So if you look at all these squares that I have highlighted, none of the squares the opponent pawn can control. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
outposts are those squares, outposts are those holes that are supported by pawn. So if you look at all these highlighted squares, if you focus on this particular square, now I'm drawing it in a red color, here, 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 and here. These are also holes, but these are not basically outposts because no pawn is controlled that, correct? But imagine if I put my minor piece on the C5 square, can you see it becomes very strong? Why? Because a pawn is supporting it. So a very simple idea, like I just played B4. So a very simple idea is knight A4, knight C4.
So my idea is knight to A4, attacking the queen. After queen moves, we come
exactly
to C5. We are in outpost.
Exactly. And now I have seen many students what they do. Many times they just capture the bishop, but no, you should not because your knight is much, much, much powerful than the bishop. This bishop is a good bishop or bad bishop, by the way?
Bad.
Bad. You don't have to even just take it. Okay. Now imagine if this knight can also sit on the D6 square, it becomes octopus knight and also sitting on outpost, correct?
Yeah. Yes, plus attacking the queen, bishop, and rook.
Rook, exactly. So the point is, what is the difference between a hole and an outpost? Who can tell me?
Sir, outpost is a place where the knight sits on the 5th or 6th rank with the pawn protecting it, and the hole is where the opponent's pawn can control. That's good.
Okay, yeah, kind of correct. So we can say, hands down, Nima. We can say that all outposts are holes, but not all holes are outpost. Understand the statement. All outposts are also holes, but all holes are not outposts, correct? Is that clear to all of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I write this statement, can you guys Devang, I hope this is clear. That
Yes, sir.
all outposts are holes, but not all holes are outposts.
Outposts.
Okay, now we will see the same idea in most of the games. We'll try to see how can we control the outpost square. So this is a very important idea in the middle game, especially. That, can you see right now, the C file is the only open file on the board, right? And right now it looks like they're controlling it. But the moment you play knight C5, the rook has not much activity on the C file, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'll be now beginning the second position. Black has just played the move pawn to G6. Now again, before you decide your move, find out where are outposts. So you have to move the knight, but you have to maneuver the knight in such a way you keep it on an outpost. So first of all, figure out holes and outposts.
Sir, I found something. The knight is already on the outpost.
It is not a outpost because the pawn can control it. It's not a hole right now.
Yeah, but it was a outpost if the pawn was not there.
If the pawn was on G5, then the knight is very much stable. Then it is outpost. But all outposts are holes. So first of all, you have to figure out where is the outpost. If you have to move the knight, yes.
Yeah.
Knight h6.
Knight h6, is it an outpost or is it just a hole?
It's a hole.
It is a hole, so it can be very easily kicked, Aradhya. So if you one second, I'll come back to you, Mark. If you go here, I can just very easily kick you, and you have to move the knight again because it's not controlled. Yes, Mark.
I thought about knight e7.
Very good. Queen moves, and then
Queen moves to
let's say here.
then I'll go to d5.
Fantastic. So he has solved it. I want to shift the knight from here because this is not an outpost. But is this an outpost? All of you?
Yes.
Yes, it is an outpost. Is it just a hole or is it an outpost?
Whole also outpost also.
Yes. So we go knight e7, attack the queen. Queen moves somewhere, but after knight d5, you can see that again in this concept, the rook is not much active on this particular line. Now, it may seem that the bishop can also take the outpost square, but is it outpost or is it not outpost?
Sir, it is
Not outpost.
Okay, I want to ask, let me see. I want to ask Ame. Ame, can you tell me why this is not an outpost? Only Ame.
Sir, bishop.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm asking why d4 square is not an outpost. Class is saying that the d4 square is not an outpost. My question is why?
Sir, cause the pawn on c3 can come.
Fantastic. Good.
Okay.
I hope this is clear to the class that this is not an outpost because pawn on c3 can always control the d4. But imagine if the pawn on c3 is not on pawn on c2 is not on c2, rather it is on c4. Then d4 is an outpost or not an outpost?
It is.
It is. I hope this is clear to the class.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Moving to the next example. It is white to play. Now, please pay attention here. You are having a minor piece, but you want the minor piece to go on an outpost. So first of all, figure out where is the outpost. Then you have to figure out how do you go to that square. Very good, Aradhya. Aradhya, can you please explain the full solution? You're correct. Very
First
good, Mark.
pawn h4.
Very nice.
The bishop moves and then knight e3
Very nice.
and d5.
Very good. So the idea is they would have to protect it by the rook. Otherwise, the pawn is just a pawn, which is lost. And then you can see that the rook is so passive. The bishop is also very passive. And then eventually you can improve your position because now your rook can also attack weak pawn. And eventually the king will also start participating in the game. You know, the king will also start participating in the game. We are going to the next example. This is, I want this one to be answered by you guys in the chat. Take your time and answer me in the chat. It's a 2-move idea. It's white to play. All of you answer me in the chat personally to me.
So, sir, we have to create an outpost.
It is already created. You have to just find a way to sit on that switch. Yes, Amay, very good. In total form today, huh? Nice. So Devang, knight to
Yes, sir.
g5. First of all, g5 is a hole or not a hole? You have to figure that out first.
Yes, sir, it is.
Hole is a square. See, what are holes? Holes are those squares that opponent's pawn cannot control. So if you go knight g5, what if I kick my pawn to h6 and I attack your knight? Same problem with Nivan also. So Nivan, knight g5, pawn h6. And your knight is again forced to go backwards. In your mind, try to see where is the outpost. Then you figure out what can be the plan to go to that square. Ame, first move is correct. Then second move is very obvious. So Ame, you have to just see where is the outpost. First move you're correct about. Then you have to see what is the second move. So Mark, after knight h4, where do you think you want your knight to be? What do you think? Where is the outpost, Mark? Unmute yourself and tell me.
Like if he pushes his G pawn.
But why? Why do you think he would do that? Black so you cannot anticipate that black would deliberately make their king weak. No, black will say knight in the rim are very dim. Black will say, look at this knight on the corner. It has nowhere to go forward. So black will say, fine. If you want to keep your knight on h4, keep it. Nobody is going to attack it. So you cannot expect the opponent to make a bad move. Once you've found the outpost, then find a way or a maneuver to go to that square.
Sir, the square which is C6.
C6 is the outpost, exactly. It is a post which is outside your camp and which is controlled by a pawn, and black pawn cannot control it whatsoever. So you want the knight to take C6. So we start knight d4. The pawn is pinned. That is why the knight cannot be captured.
So
and
that's what I told also.
And now after knight to c6, look at this position. Wherever it goes, now you take more control of this position. You can just try to go here. Or, yeah, I mean, you can even just take the pawn because this pawn is kind of under some pressure. And after this, I guess you are kind of fine in this.
Sir?
Even b5 is equally good. Even just b5, bishop b7. Look at this piece.
What if, sir?
Yeah.
What if after bishop b7, what if the bishop exchanged with a knight?
Yeah, so then suppose if you make a passer move, let's say you make a move. So let's say you play h4 just to play h5. So suppose he takes, right? Now you take. Can you see again you're exploiting the weakness?
Yes, sir.
And can you see you're having a pass pawn? So if they take it, this is well and good. Because after rook to b6, my rook will now sit very comfortably on b7. 7th heaven you guys are aware of, right?
Yes, sir.
This is black to play. Again, take your time here. Do not rush. Take your time. Think properly. And figure out what can be black's plan in the chat. Take your time because this is a first class of outpost. So I want you guys to learn this concept properly. Take your time, no rush.
Sir, from black is 4th rank and 3rd rank the outpost.
Right, exactly, yes. Which is outside the black's camp, which is 4th and 3rd, right?
Sir, I found one outpost on 5th rank.
5th rank is your camp, Ivan. It is your camp. Outpost, the very word says outside. Right?
Sir, The outpost square is C3.
Yes, Mark, very nice idea. Good idea. Complete one more move, Mark. You know what is going to happen, and then what will you play? Krishev, I want you also to participate. Yes,
So,
Irisha.
so for black, then the outpost square is C3, right?
C3 is a possibility, but is it like to go to C3, you have to travel to B5, then only C3 is possible. And the moment you go to D6, the problem is I can always control the square, right?
Yeah, I think.
So,
So
did I find
C3,
the second move?
Said E3.
but you have wait, Irisha. Mark, the second move what you have suggested is you have suggested a hole, which is not an outpost.
No, like I have moves ahead of that.
So you are correct. Idea is knight h5 because you're attacking a pawn, but pawn will go g4, and now there is an outpost which is created, which is knight to
Knight.
So I was typing
Knight
that only
F4,
right
Knight
now.
F4.
knight f4. That's the entire idea. You're attacking a pawn, they go here, but then you play your normal game. Now you continue. Now you improve your king, and these pawns are very weak in nature because they cannot protect multiple times to each other. Because suppose if they try to protect like this, there's always knight here ideas to just take advantage of.
Structure itself created this thing.
Right. So again, I'm not going to show you full length games. I'm just trying to make you guys understand how to find outposts, how to create outposts, and how do you take those outpost squares. It is white to play. Take your time. So first of all, in this case, outpost is on the C6 square, right?
Yeah.
So this is a slightly different concept. The point is, even you are having a weak pawn on the second rank. The moment you move your knight somewhere, your pawn will get under pressure. And in the black's camp, black does not have a minor piece that can challenge the knight, correct? So because black does not have a minor piece that can challenge the knight, after you play pawn a4, no one can just attack this knight. So this is like, it is technically again an outpost because your pawn is controlling the square and no pawn can from black, no pawn can hit it. This is already a hole in which you are sitting, but you have to just push a pawn and now it is turned into an outpost. Are basically holes supported by your pawn. That's it. And because you've pushed the knight on the outpost, your backward pawn, which is a weak pawn, is also protected. Can you see this?
Yeah, it's
And now you can
protected
just
through
start
it.
improving. Now, first of all, you support your pawn with a pawn so that your rook becomes free. And now you just double up on the c file. That's it. Simple idea. Just double it up on the c file and just try to attack.
So C6 is also a hole.
Exactly.
A rook likes to sit on
so after b3, we can go rook c6 and then bring the other guy on c1.
Yeah.
The idea is I want to play knight to d4. Now, this is very simple. I want all of you to answer this. Krishev, you as well. I have not received your answers. So I want to play knight d4, but there's a problem. So you have to just solve this problem. This is very simple. I'll give you only 30 seconds.
So the bishop, right?
Yeah. So we can just take the bishop.
Yeah, that's what. Then
Now,
if the takes
he
long.
cannot
Yeah,
take
you
my
just
knight.
take the bishop, then you put the knight on.
It's super simple.
Whatever they do, knight d4.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like double protection on that knight.
Exactly. And again, we have controlled that outpost square by my rook and everything. But that's how the game will improve. All right. Because we improved our knight from this square to that square. And we also solved the problem of a corner knight. Are you guys able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Black to play in the chat. There's already a hole which is there on the third rank. Make that hole into an outpost and then put a knight over there. That's it. Yes, Aradhya, very good. That's correct. That's how you improve your pieces, So that is why outpost class is so important because it helps you improving your position. It's not absolutely winning right away, but now you are gaining advantage, because now you're understanding about pawn structure, you're understanding about weak pawns, and then you're trying to control the squares ahead of the weak pawns? So those have not answered quickly. We'll be going to the next position after this. So first of all,
Or only this.
yeah. So how would I do this? So here, just look at the third and the fourth rank. So we'll see where are possible holes. Is this a hole or not, everyone? No, it's not a hole.
It is.
It is not a hole. The pawn can come and kick us. So it's not a hole. This is a hole, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. This is already an outpost, correct?
Yeah.
Already an outpost, correct?
Yeah.
A possible hole, right?
Yeah.
Not a hole. A pawn can kick us. Okay, fine. Now I know that if I try to put my knight on these particular outposts, so this is a hole, I'm drawing hole in green. I cannot put my knight on any of the outposts right away because the pawns are not allowing my knight to jump over there, correct?
Yeah.
So we will see out of these two holes, which one can become an outpost. So if I push the pawn to h4, suddenly this hole becomes an outpost.
Outpost.
And then I can see that the knight on h5 and then knight on g3 is a possibility. Can you see that?
Yes.
This is how you should improve.
Oh, right.
So h4.
Sir, I was thinking the same move.
And now after this, if bishop goes here, just knight h5, possible move is knight g3. And by the way, if what Amay, you were asking, if they play pawn g4 to stop knight h5, now just en passant.
Oh my.
Right? Do you remember this idea? En passant?
Right.
Takes. And now can you see which has become a weak pawn?
Oh.
Yeah.
3 and the king is open.
Yeah, and the king is becoming open. Slowly.
G4, then the pawn takes, and we take the pawn, then
It is a checkmate,
check.
right? Interesting idea. Interesting idea. Knight g4 is an interesting move because we are thinking that, okay, they will take us. But what do you think? Is it the only move that they have to do? Can they ignore it?
Yes, sir, they can.
They can. Suppose possibly I can play pawn g3. Now
Sir,
I'm threatening to keep.
It opens the king.
Now I'm threatening to take because this won't be a checkmate because the king can escape, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
And
sir.
now if you go knight e3, the problem with that is takes.
Oh, yeah.
Takes. They're getting 3 pawns.
We are not comfortable. So better is to play h4, but it was a good question. It was a good question. Pawn h4, they go here and then knight to g3 is literally coming. This cannot be a possibility, guys, because it looks like that they're trying to control the square again, right? But that is the pawn, which is knight f4. Okay, now everyone pay attention here. So first of all, figure out where is the outpost. That is very important. Before you guys start finding the square, figure it out. Where do you think the outpost is? Until unless you don't see where the outpost is, you will make mistake. Again, look at the third and the fourth rank. Figure out where is the outpost. A hole which is supported by a pawn. Aradhya, what about you? Tell the class where is the outpost, Aradhya? Come on, you have taken the classes on outpost a lot of times.
Sir, d4.
Exactly. Now Aradhya will demonstrate. How can you take that outpost? Yes, Aradhya, begin. Not every time you want to take the outpost with the knight. Sometimes you can also take the outpost with a different minor piece, which is the bishop in this case. Not super simple. Yes, Irisha.
Sir, first we play
Sir, c5.
bishop c5, then we play bishop to d4.
Exactly. And the point is, once you figure out that this is the outpost, the d4 square is the outpost, a hole which is supported by a pawn, then you will not make mistake. Then obviously king moves wherever, it doesn't matter much. Bishop d4. Look at this beautiful move. Now the point is, this bishop also protected a pawn. Not only that, this bishop cannot move much because we take a free pawn. That is the power of taking outpost, guys. The moment you're, imagine like this, imagine like this, that I have put one of my piece in the opponent's camp that opponent cannot even touch.
Oh my.
Think how much problem that piece can create.
Just one piece.
Just one piece. I have just put one of my bishop in the opponent's camp, and opponent cannot touch it. And see the problem the bishop is creating.
Even it'll attack. If the bishop moves, then the rook is also going to be attacked. If the black bishop for white.
Right, right. So I hope this is clear.
Yeah.
We're going to see one more, or maybe two more. Let's see. White to play, guys. This is interesting. Turn a hole into an outpost. This is like you have to create an outpost. So first of all, there's no outpost right now. Turn a hole into an outpost. Take your time.
Sir, maybe the outpost is c5.
Very good. But it is not outpost right now. You have to create it. You're correct, Irisha. So you have to see how can c5 turn into an outpost.
Sir, first we play pawn to b4.
Very good.
The knight
Knight goes back. And now what?
Sir, then we play our knight to d3. Then
No. You're rushing it now. If you rush it, then you will make mistakes.
Sir, now a3.
No. Again, because is it outpost? Is it a hole right now or not?
it is a hole.
Not.
It's not a hole. It's not.
It's not.
It's
How can
not
it
a
become
hole.
The pawn can just come and kick.
Sir, capture the knight at the
Exactly. Very good. Very good. Because after it takes, now it has become a hole.
Yeah, now we can play
Yeah.
our knight to
Now you
Plus, you
bring.
have double pawns, which is a great weakness.
Exactly. That's the technique, guys. This is what you guys have to learn. Suppose rook b8, knight check, and we are also winning another pawn.